Hello, my name is Terry McCall, and I'm a school counselor at Green Valley Academy. Today, I will be presenting on the ABCs of virtual individual counseling. This is just a little bit about me. I am a professional school counselor at Green Valley Academy. I've been there since 2015, and this year I became an LCPC, which is a licensed clinical professional counselor. And I also became certified family trauma professional, national board certified, and I started my own practice. This is just an overview of what the school counselor's role is, which to deliver instruction that proactively enhances awareness of mental health, promotes positive, healthy behaviors, and seeks to remove the stigma associated with mental health issues. Okay, so what is virtual counseling? Virtual counseling, also known as telehealth, we hear it referred to as telehealth, online or video counseling. It's a service offered for remote support where you use a webcam or online portal to help students with a variety of emotional, social, and academic needs. The ABCs of virtual counseling. The A is for atmosphere. The B is for building rapport, and the C is for consistency. The atmosphere, that means that you create an environment that is conducive to counseling. You want to think about your props and your pictures for your background. As you can see, that's my background, and I created that. It was through trial and error, but I think I finally got it. You can use plants for color and for depth, and just to create a warm environment. You can use interesting pictures or posters. Definitely a comfortable chair is a necessity, and good internet and a good internet device will also help to create an environment that is conducive to counseling. Building rapport. That means that you are creating a bond or connection that exists between the counselor and student. And this might not happen the first session. This might take the first couple of sessions, especially if you didn't know the child when you were in the building. But a couple of ways that you can create that bond is through active listening. Counselors need to pay very close attention to the words and emotions of the client, especially when you can't rely on seeing the body language, okay? But you still will have to convince the child that he or she is being heard and understood. Also, be verbally engaging. The more you verbally engage the client or the student in dialogue rather than just listening, the better rapport will be. You could ask about something that you see in the student's background. Just something to get the child talking. You can create eye contact as much as possible and as much as appropriate. And though with the camera, it's hard to figure out, where do I look? What do I focus my attention on? And it's best to just, I found that it works to just look at the client or the student's eyes, where appropriate, of course, depending on the cultural background, that might not be appropriate. But where it is appropriate, that's just a good focus point. And during virtual learning, you might want to increase self-disclosure. That humanizes you, humanizes yourself by telling a little bit about yourself. And you could talk about a picture on your wall, what that picture means to you as well. And then most importantly, be yourself. Smile, use humor, be personable, but yet professional, because you're not talking to a friend. You are still talking to a student, so you want to be professional, especially because you're in the student's home per se, through the computer. So you still want to remain professional. The C is for consistency. You want to provide a safe and reliable space for that student to share, and you can get that by being consistent. Being on time for the session, scheduling a few sessions ahead of time. That way you can set up your schedule, and the student can also set his or her schedule up as well. You can use Calendly appointment scheduler. That helps. That way the student can just go in and schedule an appointment. You can use Google Forms. So whatever you do, just have the appointment scheduler accessible to the student. You also want to make sure that you're in a quiet, private area, consistently in a quiet, private area. So if you know that you're going to be in the car during the time of the session, then, at least pull over so that you're still in a quiet, private area and not driving and not really 100% focused. And it's a good idea to also read your session notes ahead of time so that you familiarize yourself with what you talked about with the student the week prior. Creating a treatment plan. A treatment plan is like a roadmap. It helps you figure out where you're going. So a treatment, it's a custom, detailed strategy created to help a student overcome challenges and reach specific goals. In that treatment plan, you want to include things like the problem. What is the student doing? So the student could be maybe not attending class. What are the goals? What behavior do you want to see? You want to see the child attend class. That's the goal. And the objective. The objective is what the student will do to achieve his or her goals. The student will attend at least 3 classes per week, or whatever goal, whatever objective you all set up. The intervention, that's what the counselor or the person who's writing the plan will do to assist the student. That would be individual counseling, progress reports. It's something that the intervention that the counselor puts in place. And next, you want to document the session because the old saying, if it's not written down, it didn't happen. Document the care delivered and the counseling events relevant to the treatment for the student. And it can be a brief statement about what was discussed during the session. It could be 1 or 2 statements from the student. You can also comment on the student's affect during the session. An example of just a little treatment note would be during the session, we discussed John's feelings about distance learning. John said that he finds it difficult to concentrate at home. Counselor asked if he had a quiet place to do his work. John said no. John seemed disconnected during the session. And I also included a copy of what you can use for a counseling note. I got this from Teachers Pay Teachers. And it's just a nice little graphic on what you can write. The student name, the grade, reason for plan, parent name, counseling goals, and then just a log. So you can write what you talked about and the goal you worked on. And then this is just another form. And then you can also document your group counseling on this as well. Now, preparing for the session, use your treatment plan to guide your discussion because that's your roadmap. You're trying to assist the student with solving the problem. To ask the student what he or she would like to talk about in regards to the problem, when you open up for your session. And then you want to determine how the problem is affecting his or her education. So the student, that creates buy-in as well, when the student can see how that problem, which could be, not attending class, is going to affect his or her education. Just some topics that you could discuss during your session. You could talk about Naviance. It'd be a good opportunity to do watch some of the short videos that they have on different topics such as careers, and there are lots of social emotional videos in the platform as well. You can discuss academic, career, and social emotional needs. You can also do short-term counseling and crisis intervention, which is focused on mental health or situational concerns such as grief or difficult transitions. And especially now with COVID, you never know who has been affected. Maybe a parent, a grandparent who might have been affected by COVID, or even the financial situation of the family might have been affected. So our kids are going to be, they want to talk about that as well. And students might have some anxiety about it. Anxiety is overestimating danger and underestimating their ability to cope. Um, Depression that's focused on events of the past. Your students might be suffering from trauma, which just states that they are pushed past the ability to cope. So that can be anything. That could be moving. That could be a sick parent. That could be loss of finances. Anything like that can push students past the ability to cope. And of course, abuse as well. Anger. Anger is a choice, and it's also a secondary emotion. So you can use your session time to discuss what that primary emotion might be. And I have a PDF, which I'll show you later in the presentation, where you can help the student to increase their emotional vocabulary. Now, you're going through these sessions and then something big comes up. When do you refer out for therapy? You should provide referrals to school and community resources that treat mental health issues such as suicidal ideation, violence, abuse, and depression. So when the students are over emotional and cannot calm down in an appropriate and brief amount of time, you might want to refer that child out. And also, when more extensive evaluation, testing, and medication is needed, when a student's needs are greater than those that the counselor can provide in a school setting, when a student requires more support and attention to address or solve a problem or an issue, etc., when students need more specific and individualized help, solutions, and plans to address issues, or when a student needs more privacy than a counselor can provide in the school. Because you have to remember, we're not therapists, we are school counselors. So to hold a 45-minute session because that child needs that, it might be time to refer that student out to a more qualified professional. Here are a list of resources that I've gathered, and I've gathered most of them from Teachers Pay Teachers, but I'll go through them. I already went through the counseling notes. This is 101 positive thinking affirmations, and these are all things that you can have the students to download. You can email it to the student and talk about it during the session, or you can assign it as homework. Or when you go into the classes, these are some materials that you can take or send as well. This is 101 thinking affirmations. So the students can pick from a list of 100 positive thoughts and affirmations. You can pick 10 that he or she wants to focus on. And let's see, the next one is identifying triggers for anger for those students who have anger management issues. You can use this as a nice graphic for anger triggers. What makes you feel angry? List as many triggers as you can for feeling angry. And a couple of different versions of it. This is a log that the student can use as well, and you can use this to discuss. You can have a student do this during the week and then discuss it when you meet back for a session. Therapeutic dream catcher. This is fun. This is fun for all ages, especially for those who have suffered trauma. You just the student will write in any negative emotions or events inside of the dream catcher, and then they would take a string and kind of trap those emotions. And on the outside of the capture, they would write positive people or things that they like on the outside to surround the negative things. So it comes with directions and a blank dream catcher. A 6-word memoir. This is something you can do during the lunch bunch, or again, just upload it to your Google Classroom and have the kids, just something fun for the kids to do. It identifies their personal strengths and assets. It's basically writing a personal narrative. And it gives them some prompts as well. So then they would write their 6 words here. Intensity of emotions for those students who have trouble identifying how they feel, how he or she feels. This arranges it in different intensities, and then it has the emotion on top, so they can pick how they're feeling based upon the intensity of the emotion. That helps increase emotional literacy. Here we have a cognitive triangle. I use this quite a lot. This is where you write your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Your thoughts would be, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And what am I doing? So then you would take, if a person is sad, say you would write sad, and then what were you thinking? And then it will be your actions. And then you can go back through it, say, well, what if you were to think something different? And then you would process it with the different thought and how that different thought can evoke a different feeling and create a different action. The premise is that if you can change your thoughts, then you can change how you feel, and then change what you do. Emotion and feelings PDF. This is just a PDF with lots and lots of emotions. So I normally give this to a kid who won't speak because he's so upset. So I just hand him this and say, hey, pick an emotion. How do you feel? And then we can acknowledge how he feels, and then get him breathing, and then change the focus, and then come back to what the original issue was, because he was able to acknowledge how he was feeling. And then teachers pay teachers. This is where I've gotten most of those resources from. And it's a great resource. They have, it's separated by grade. You can pick which specialty you want it to focus on, and whether you wanted a free resource or an under $5 resource or $5 to $10 resource. So lots of good stuff. As you can see just on this page, it covers, this is my wish list. Grief and loss, grief groups, dating and relationships bundle. They even have some things about COVID healthy habits. So they keep it pretty up to date. Teachers and educators, they help contribute to this website. So it's pretty good. Okay, well, that concludes our presentation. I hope you're able to take at least 1 or 2 things and use it during your virtual counseling journey. Again, my name is Terry McCall. If you wanted to reach out, my email is terry.mccall@pgcps.org. And hope you have a great school year.